Electronic Bible people are already there. Acts the 16th chapter, 16th verse. Still saved? All right, I'll start reading and then you follow. Once, when we were going to the place of prayer, we were met by a female slave who had a spirit by which she predicted the future. She earned a great deal of money for her owners by fortune telling. She followed Paul and the rest of us, shouting, "These men are servants of the Most High God, who are telling you the way to be saved." She kept this up for many days. Finally, Paul became so annoyed that he turned around and said to the Spirit, "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to come out of her." At that moment, the Spirit left her. Let's go to verse 22. The crowd joined in the attack against Paul and Silas, and the magistrates ordered them to be stripped and beaten with rods. After they had been severely flogged, they were thrown into prison, and the jailer was commanded to guard them carefully. When he received these orders, he put them in the inner cell and fastened their feet in the stocks. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken. At once, all the prison doors flew open, and everyone's chains came loose. The jailer woke up, and when he saw the prison doors open, he drew his sword and was about to kill himself because he thought the prisoners had escaped. But Paul shouted, "Don't harm yourself. We are all here." Amen. Lord, add a blessing to the reading and to the hearing of his most holy word. Let us preach from the sermonic theme, "Can we still sing? Can we still sing?" I noticed that the challenge of getting older rests in the ability in what you leave behind. I remember a body that I used to have that if a cold came on if the cold came on at 9 a.m., it was gone by 10 a.m. I remember a body that no matter how much I ate, it still stayed the same and looked the same. Talk to me, somebody. I remember church, and I feel as though as I get older, those memories seem to be far and few between. And it's sometimes when I go into the doctor, as I think that every issue is an emergency if it has not been corrected in 24 hours, my doctor politely reminds me, "You're getting older, son." It is then, though, the challenge, even with our physical bodies, that spiritually and mentally, that as we go with time, there are things that are left behind along the way. Oh, the gravestones that we now look at, the pictures of persons who once were here, but are no longer here. The choices that we have made some years ago that now manifest themselves into tough circumstances, whether they have been choices in relationships that have led in heartbreak, choices in having children that still leads in heartbreak at the status of our children, the families that we have once had and have had to say farewell to. These are the unintentional results of our choices and lifestyles because they lead into circumstances that we could not see or even feel. When we go back to our beginnings, there is a naiveness that was about us. And as we enter into this thing called life, we become humbled by the paths that we took. And when we come of age, when we didn't even see, but as I remember the elders singing, how we got over. My soul looks back and wonders. Where we must be careful that here with these recognitions and these thoughts of our past, that we don't live a life of regret. That is what can be the killer, because regret evolves from failed humanly earthly expectations. We believe that we should be a certain place by a certain time, or in a certain moment by a certain time. And it then becomes, and when we live that life in regret, it causes a spiritual sickness, pain, and it then becomes the introduction of heartbreak and depression. And so the challenge in church is that in the recognition of where we are in life and what we have endured, how will you answer the question, can you still sing? Can you still sing? Come on, the Bible is clear now that there are seasons in which we go through. That nothing in life stays the same as like what we would want to. In Ecclesiastes 3, to everything there is a what? Season. And to a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to what? Die. A time to plant and then a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, a time to heal. A time to break down, but also a time to build up. And here there's a time to weep, but also a time to laugh. A time to mourn, but also a time to dance. Here then is the formula for life, church. It's the question that that remains, that in the midst of that changing of season and circumstance, do you have the ability to still sing? Singing now involves a joyful spirit, a moment that won't be denied. That's what singing is. It involves something that evolves deep from the inner soul that says that at this moment I can still sing. Keep in mind here, church, that in this scripture, Paul and Silas, they were punished now for doing the work of the Lord. The owners of the slave girl, let the girl show her loyalty to. Paul was to shut down her fortune-telling spirit and demanded that it come out of her. And when that spirit came out of her, now then indeed she lost her value to this secular thinking. And then the world joins in and supports the owners of her by then placing these men in jail simply because they had taken away the ability to earn this evil money. That is the issue here. And now Paul and Silas, this entire crew, are now in the same position that Christ has done. What wrong did they do? but save this child's life from the spirit that had overtaken her. Paul seeks to free her of this wrong spirit, but more so free her of the government and the male restrictions on her being her true self. Who's mad, but now instead of these owners being happy and say, wow, this young lady now can come into her own, instead they are sad because of their own selfish human desires. This is it, church. This is the kind of world in which we can live in, where people take advantage of us and hold us at bay because of our own selfish human desires. They will prevent our own progression, our own opportunities for greatness in God's eyes, simply because they don't want to see us get there. And they like to keep us on the same evil, downtrodden level where they are. Come on, we see it with sin. We say it takes two to gossip, church. You got quiet on me, amen? It takes two to gossip. Right. It is a desire to keep another person at bay. It's the crab in the bucket theory. How can I keep you down? And if somebody chooses to lift you up, I will punish them. All they did was something good, but for their efforts, they end up, church, not just in the jail, but they end up in the inner cell. They ended up there, and now they have reached a season here. Now they were doing the right thing, but they are jailed. It's challenged in church, even for us, because we can do God's work and yet end up in a challenging season. It is a nature then, because it's sometimes doing God's work just may not have the same secular payoffs. Right. Amen. We'll look at our neighbors sinning up, down, all around. And yet we struggling just to get that mortgage payment out. Come on, talk to me, somebody. Or we're singing. We've been working hard on the job for all these years, and watch the people who create the most chaos end up getting a promotion over us. It causes then that season amongst us and that insecure. And we will see people living wrong all day, all long, and we'll be in the doctor's office all day, all long. And inside of us, we don't want to say it, but we feel it. Lord, can you take a look over on the other side of the gate instead of my side of the gate? But we end up in challenging seasons. And the season now becomes challenging because of the expectations that we have for our own lives. Amen. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't be struggling this hard. I shouldn't be going through this. I shouldn't be not just in jail, but I certainly shouldn't be in the inner cell. So the Bible then enters in, and the Bible finds them in this season, and their response to it is singing. Hallelujah. Can you still sing in the midst of your jail cell? Do you still have that ability to still sing in the midst of that cell? They weren't just singing, but they were praying. They didn't abandon the faith of the moment, but they took a hold of it and embraced it, and said, even in the inner cell, I'm still going to thank the Lord for what He has done for me. Hallelujah. That's the song that we can sing. In the midst of it, in the midst of the diagnosis, in the midst of the hurt, in the midst of the pain, can I still get on my knees and say, Lord, you are worthy of any and all praise. In the midst of the heartbreak, the disconcerting, the job lost, the time when the money is not there, can I still get on my knees and say, you are the merciful. Thank you for grace. If I didn't get anything else, I've got too much already. Can you love on the God who has brought you this far? In this thing, the humility of this man, not just singing and not just praying, but now to save another life. The jailer, having recognized the earthquake and the jail cell funnel, surely those in the inner cell must have left, but instead they yell out, "We're still here." In just this moment, they have saved 2 lives.
Yes, they did.
They saved the life of the slave girl who was being exploited by her owners, but then saved the jailer who had locked them in the chains. In the midst of the season, they found ways in which to do good for someone.
Hallelujah. We
can't take seasons that don't work well for us and use them as reasons not to come to church.
That's right. All right. Amen.
Or use them as reasons not to serve in church. Or destroy a prayer life that was once exciting and innovative and now gone away to just a whisper and nothing. And certainly can use it as an opportunity not to engage the word that brought us this far.
Hallelujah.
Come on, weeping may endure for a night, but what? Joy come in the morning time. Do you think that was accidentally happenstance put there in the Bible? They knew that a human being like us who have been through something knew that one day I would need to see that somebody else weep and that they were going through, but joy came in the morning. Can you still sing, church? In the midst of these bad news cycles, bad government, and all around, can we still sing? In the midst of the loss and the death, as we get older, we say farewell to more people and more people. Can we still sing? When the church is going through its challenges, its ups and downs, do we quit on it or do we still keep singing? Do we find ways in which we can get through it together and masterfully take upon the word of the Lord?
Yes, Lord.
The scripture then is a challenge as we see it, even as we partake of the feast that is before us on this wonderful first Sunday. When Christ says, "Do it in remembrance of me," he is saying that even though that I sat at a table with a traitor, even though I sat at a table with somebody who would betray me, even though I sat at a table with somebody who would deny me, or persons who would flee from me in my darkest moment, I still held on to the firm purpose that I was sent for. Can you still sing? Even though I was whipped and beaten and spit upon with a cross upon my back, that I had to take it and marched up and was brutally murdered on Calvary Mountain, but yet I still held on to the firm purpose in which I was sent for, not giving myself up to quit. Can you still sing? And then on the Sunday morning with the stone that could not block my purpose, it could not block the calling from which I was sent, they're being rolled away and now sit on the right hand of God the Father Almighty. Can you still sing? Because if Jesus sung in these moments, if he kept talking, certainly we can as his children in the midst of these tough circumstances, the times against us. Can we still sing? Here now then is the opportunity for us as children of the Most High God. Whether you be a pastor, a preacher, a deacon, a leader, or just a member. We don't get the opportunity just to quit simply because they put us in the inner cell. We don't get a chance to run away from the possibility of what joy can bring or the challenges that come simply because of a doctor's diagnosis. We still pursue and we carry on the mission for which we have been called. Come on, let's give God praise for his holy word.